Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, we're reviewing a Mercedes-Benz AMG GLA 35. Before we get into this video, I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to the Mercedes-Benz of Farmington for giving me some time with this GLA. I'm going to include a link to their website in the description down below so you can check what they have currently. If you have any questions or need any help, just ask to work with Sam. And then on a side note, if you want to save time and money the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below. Let's get into it. Under the hood, we have a turbocharged 2-liter 4-cylinder that goes through an 8-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 22 around town and then 28 on the highway, with power outputs being 302 horsepower and then 295 pound-feet of torque. Now, before we move forward with this review, I do want to mention, if you want to see more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. So starting with the hood, you guys can see the AMG badge there in the center, and then I like these lines that kind of pop up. And then look at the headlight design here with the GLA, pretty aggressive looking. And then you have the AMG style grille with all the vertical slats there. And then you guys can see some of the silver trim at the bottom. And putting it all together, even though this is technically a crossover, it has more of kind of like a hot hatch appearance. Now around the side here, our tire wheel setup is 255, 35, 21 in the front and over in the rear. And you guys can see with the wheels, they're all silvered out, I guess is what we could say, but they do have the AMG logo on because they are AMG style wheels. Something to mention is if you do like a more blacked out look, I don't know if you guys can see, but that right there, that's a GLA 35. It has the same exact stuff as this, except the wheels and everything are blacked out if you don't like this kind of like silver theme. Anyways, you guys can see the fender flares are body painted, and then notice the Turbo 4matic badge there. And then you guys can see with the silver trim around the windows. And putting it all together with the side profile, this is where you guys can kind of see it's got that sort of like hot hatch type appearance. And then taking a look at the key fob, you guys can see we've got our lock and unlock function. We got the opening here for the hatch AMG logo as well. And then popping into the hatch area, first off, we've got the cargo cover built in from the factory and plenty of storage space here. Again, it's not a huge crossover, but it's still decently practical. And when you're all done, you can just press this and that will lower the hatch right back down. I think the taillights on this look really sharp, and then you guys can see with the rest of the badges. And then we do have pretty aggressive exhaust tips there at the bottom. And putting it all together, let me guys think about the looks of the GLA. And man, the back end of it, because the hips pop out a little bit, it's got a wide appearance. Now taking a look at the door panel, you guys can see with the red stitching here, and then look at all of the padding, and then down below as well, and then more of that red stitching. And then I like this here with the handle and the rest of the trim. And then look at this seats, really nice trim all down the center, and then red seat belts as well. Legroom back here is great. We also have a little storage net. We've got some vents here in the center, and sadly we don't have a cup holder armrest, it looks like, but headroom, it's good. And we get our own sunroof here in the back. Look at that. I don't know if it'll pop. There we go, sunroof. Now taking a look at the front door panel, you guys can see the trim here, and then look at the soft touch down below, and then more of the stitching. And we have our memory seat function here, and then your seat adjustments, then a heated seat function, blind spot mirroring with the mirrors, and then we have all of our window controls, and the mirrors do power fold in. Then more of that red stitching there, and then look at all the trim down the rest of the seat, and then the red seat belt, that's pretty sweet. And then the pedals, they actually look really sharp. And we have our light controls right here as well, and then the dash does have soft touch trim all over. Now we've got the AMG style steering wheel, so perforated on either side so you can get a better grip, and then you can see the smoother trim here at the bottom, and it's also at the top. AMG logo, and then we got the cool drive mode select here on the steering wheel, and then also you can change different functions, just press those buttons in. Just creates a little bit of theater, I think, with the car. And then tons of practical controls. It's kind of a control overload here. But this is basically for that screen, and then that is for that screen. Paddle shifters there on the back. And then you have your turn signal windshield wiper stalk. And then we have our column shifter. Now, just like other modern Mercedes, you've got this gauge cluster, which you can change the design here in the center. It almost kind of functions like a secondary infotainment system in a way, with all the different information that you can see through. And then in reverse, we do have a backup camera with trajectory lines that turn with the steering wheel. Resolution with the camera system is pretty solid, I would say. And then as for the rest of the infotainment system, it does function as a touchscreen. You can see it responds very quickly with the different functions. You can also use the little kind of keypad thing on the steering wheel to control it as well if you want. Got our 3 vent layout down below, and then your climate controls below that. And then we got some storage here, USB port, and then some cup holders. And then this is your drive mode select. It just says dynamic on it, but you can go through the different drive modes here in the center. Notice we're in comfort right now, but you can pop into individual. For example, you also have like a sport and a sport plus, so lots of different drive modes. And then just kind of like storage there. And speaking of storage, center console, got some USBs inside. Nice padding here on the top, and then the stitching and all of that. And then I kind of mentioned the dash is soft touch, and you got a cool trim here in the back. And then with the glove box, yeah, pretty good. And then this does have another sunroof up front. So here's what I want to sticker for this GLA 35. You guys can see all the standard equipment. There's your base MSRP, and then there's your total MSRP, $59,550. And let's see how it drives. Let's talk about visibility before we set off. Here's visibility over the hood. Both the mirrors should do a blind spot monitoring throughout the rest of the rear. And, well, let us set off in the GLA 35. And, by the way, if you are looking for a Sprinter, they have some all-wheel drive ones. If you guys want me to come back and review one another day, I can. But it looks like they've got quite a few. I know a lot of these are the two-wheel drive variant, but they do have some all-wheel drive in the mix, like you can tell, because it sits higher if it's all-wheel drive compared to the two-wheel drive. But yeah, they've got quite a few Sprinters up here if you're looking to live that van life, right? And it looks like they're getting G63s in as well. Wow. And a 4x4 squared. Pretty snazzy. Pretty snazzy. But anyways, let's kind of focus on the GLA here. So I like these seats. They're definitely on the firmer side, but I think overall they're pretty comfortable. So that's a plus. And this is a random fact, but I've always wondered why there's this gate over here that's locked, and I have discovered why. It is a private road for a farm. So interesting, right? That's this here on the side. It's pasture land and farmland. So they kind of it kind of makes sense because we are here in Farmington. Get it? Anyways, we're gonna pop it into the Sport Plus mode here. See how the camera system works, I guess. I also think it makes sense to have a farm here because it's very marshy. You guys can see all the marsh plants and everything. So I guess water access is easy. Anyways. Oh man, this thing rips. Wow. That is, and I like the sound. It makes a cool sound as well. I don't know why, I just turned on the volume by accident. That is fun. Gotta love the Farmington racetrack. Gotta love the Farmington racetrack. But yeah, I mean that's quick, and it's not even the 45 is even faster. It's the crazy part. So yeah, obviously not a normal drive, but we got at least enough driving in nonetheless. So I guess, yeah, capping things off, I think this looks really cool on the outside, and I love this interior. I love Mercedes-Benz interiors because even on these more quote-unquote, and this is an AMG, so it's not really a baseline car, but on their more affordable cars, the interiors still look really classy, which I really appreciate. And so, yeah, this just feels special. Like, you get into an Audi or BMW at this price point, and I mean, you've got some cool stuff. Like, if like Audi RS3 is close to this price, yeah, relatively close. But yeah, I don't know, it just doesn't, this just has a flair to it that the other automakers don't have. But anyways, let me know what you guys think about the GLA 35. And I think overall it's really cool. You're basically getting a hot hatchback, but with a little bit, you know, closer to like, not quite SUV ground clearance, but, you know, crossover ground clearance. So a little bit more ground clearance. So like in a place like Utah where we've got pretty bad roads in some places, you don't have to worry about bottoming out, right? So it's got quite a few benefits to it. But let me know what you guys think about this GLA 35.